Today I'm reviewing the Geissele Super 700 trigger. The trigger in your rifle is arguably one of the most important components or accessories, whatever you want to call it. And don't ever be afraid to put money into a quality trigger. It's literally something you get to use every time you press the trigger. Wah, wah. Anyways, don't ever be afraid to put money into a quality trigger. You literally use it every time you shoot the gun. You can use it for dry fire. It especially with a precision rifle, it really does make the shooting experience that much better. My name is Dave Tim from Guns and Tactics. Thank you very much for joining me today, spending a few minutes of your day learning about the Geissele Super 700 trigger. Now, before we get into that, please like, share, and subscribe if you like the video, all that stuff. Business relationship with Geissele is I don't have one. So full disclosure, I did receive the trigger as a media sample, which means I did get that trigger that's in this gun for free. No conditions, no whatever, just hey, do a review if you want, make content, do whatever. They're not paying me, they're not giving me all sorts of other free stuff or whatever. I have to buy my stuff from Geissele on Black Friday and wait long periods of time, just like all of you. I did get some great coffee and a coupon code out of the deal though, but you know, just getting Geissele a little jab. It was worth the wait. Anyways, I did receive one for free. Truth of the matter is I liked it so much I bought like 2 or 3 more. Pretty much all of my Remington 700 style rifles are using a Geissele Super 700. I have it in my centerfire rig, I have it in my rimfire rig, which by the way, if you haven't checked out my Voodoo video review, I'll put a link up there. And in that review, I did end up keeping it. So I basically begged and pleaded with them to let me buy it at hopefully a discounted price because I'm a poor gun tuber, and they gave me a pretty sweet deal. So I did end up buying the Voodoo, and I absolutely love that rifle. But that has a Geissele in it as well. So here's the deal. It's a great 2-stage trigger. You can convert it to a single stage. I'm not going to touch on that because quite frankly with precision rifles, I like a 2-stage trigger. I like being able to get into that position, get steady, take up the first stage, and I'm right there on the second stage, and then when everything's great, I can press the trigger. So I did not personally review this in a single stage, so if that's what you're looking for, please don't hit the dislike button. Maybe keep watching, see if there's something else you like, but I just didn't go there because it personally wasn't something I was interested in. I was interested in the 2-stage. And I can tell you right off the bat, it is a very nice 2-stage trigger. Now there's other options on the market, and a lot of people are gonna ask, how does it compare to so-and-so? How does it compare to so-and-so? And you know what, let's just get that right out of the way. I think it is a nicer trigger than the Timney 2-stage models that I have either owned or shot. Just gonna put that out there. If you're looking at Timney stuff, Timney makes some nice triggers, don't get me wrong. But the Geissele is a nicer 2-stage trigger. I looked at a Trigger Tech. I shot a Trigger Tech for a little bit, and I would say that the Geissele is a nicer trigger than the Trigger Tech 2-stage. Now, I can't remember exactly which one, if it was, I'm not super familiar with their lineup, so I don't know if it was like a high-end one, a mid-range one, but the guys whose rifle it was, I got to shoot it, and it was nice, but I thought the Geissele was nicer. Now, the only one that I haven't really shot that I am interested in kind of shooting head-to-head with the Geissele is the Bix and Andy, and I know they just announced their 2-stage trigger. I believe it's like a 2020 release, so I really would like to check that out, but I gotta be honest, I have no desire to really look elsewhere for triggers. I'm digging the Geissele. So here's how it comes. Actually, I don't even have a new one. Yes, here's how it comes. And as you can see in the package, I'm not gonna open this one because this one's actually for somebody else, but in the package it comes, basically like this, except for it does have the bolt release at the bottom there. If you have a factory Remington 700 and you need that factory bolt release that goes on the bottom, it's right there. However, most aftermarket actions have a side bolt release, so you can remove that, and I'll show some footage now how easy it is to remove that and how easy it was to install it in my Seekins or my Voodoo. Basically, you just have to remove that, and then you just drive out your pins, reinsert the trigger, and go from there. Now, what I liked about the trigger right off the bat, even before I put it together, is the adjustment screws. Up top, we do have an over travel screw, a secondary weight screw, primary weight screw, 2-stage and single stage screws are on the bottom. Geissele includes great directions in the package that go over all of what all the different screws are. but you do have a lot of adjustability with the trigger. If we even look at a rifle, you can see that inside the trigger guard, you can still access the screws. So you can still make adjustments while the rifle is together, but you can adjust them with a 1/16 hex key. Just make sure it's a good sharp hex key, not a ball hex key. Other than that, we're not gonna mess with it. We're not gonna take it apart. Don't do that. It's not what you're supposed to do. So as far as construction of the trigger, immediately I like that. This is a factory Remington 700 trigger, and you can see how it's basically two pieces of metal that are kind of sandwiched together, and they hold the components, and here's your safety, and here's your bolt stop and all that. What I don't like about this style of trigger is that if you don't have your pins aligned just right, it's easy to kind of pinch or bend this metal sometimes. I've seen that happen. I've seen people booger that up. And if you compare that with the Geissele, you can see it's basically like a drop-in type, even though it's not really drop-in, but you get my point in that you can see that it's solid material. It's very easy to drive your pins through. The pins stay aligned. Installation, quite frankly, was just simple. No issues whatsoever. Other things I liked about it. The sear is actually right down here at the bottom. I'm gonna probably roll in a close-up of this where you can actually, see the sear engagement surface, which is adjustable, by the way, if you wanted to adjust it. I did not adjust the sear engagement at all, although you can. The directions go over how to do that. I just adjusted the weight so that mine is breaking right at about 2 pounds. Maybe I think I have my 22 one adjusted a little bit less, but my centerfire one is right at 2 pounds. They come from the factory, 3.5. Mine was actually a little hair heavier than that when I put them on the gauge, but it's easy to adjust. As far as the safety functions, the safety is very definable. There's a nice solid detent, very audible and tactile, so you're definitely not going to confuse activating the safety. And you can see how the safety mechanism works by moving the top of the selector. It actually moves a bar down, blocking the trigger from moving at all, preventing that sear engagement. In practice on a rifle, again, tactile, audible, you can very clearly feel, no problem, even if you're wearing gloves or anything like that, of engaging that safety. So no issues whatsoever. And the brake, again, just nice, very nice. And that's what I like about the Voodoo, by the way, too, is that I can have it set up pretty much the exact same way as my centerfire rifle, which is pretty awesome. As far as reliability goes, I'm rolling in footage of me shooting these triggers in these two rifles. This particular one I took out of a rifle that I'm actually going to be selling, so different topic. But I've probably, I know I've got well over 1,000 rounds with the rimfire, and I probably have around 600 or so with the centerfire. Zero issues whatsoever. I've done my own simulated drop tests where basically, I'll put the gun in fire, verified it's unloaded for all the internet range safety officers out there, and then kind of doing my own tests. I haven't had any of the triggers fail a function test, and in fact, one of Geissele's, I think moments to be proud of is that this actually passed a 5-foot drop test in military submission when they were submitting this trigger for the Mark 13 sniper program. That's where this kind of trigger came from, if you will. What I like about the trigger, looking at the trigger, how the two-stage trigger works, is you have that first stage, you hit the wall, that's your second stage. Once you break the weight of your adjustment, whatever it is for you, the trigger will break. Now here's what I like about this particular two-stage. Other two stages on the market, the first stage is like super long, where this is a reasonable length. I mean, you definitely know when you touch the trigger, and you definitely know when you hit that stage. It's easily there. It's not like a speed bump where, you're taking up and all of a sudden, you roll through it. Not like that at all. It's crisp, it's nice. But it has a very definable first stage. So when you are prepping and getting ready, you're right there. There's no mistaking it. And then as far as breaking the second stage, there's no creep. I can't, maybe if you have a more defined trigger finger than I do, nothing. I mean, it's like, I feel like it's a millimeter of travel or something. I mean, it's just really nice. Really nice. Now, what does that matter? Well, like I said before, when you break the shot, you don't want to interfere with moving the gun. It's all about the presentation of the gun aiming the gun and then delivering the round without messing up the first two, and how a lot of people mess up either the presentation or the aiming is with their trigger finger or with their grip. And in a precision rifle, you know, having that good trigger really means a lot. Now, not trying to brag, because I am by far not the world's greatest precision shooter. However, when I shot this at a, I don't know if it was a national match or whatever, but when I shot this at a rimfire match, I had a couple of really good stage finishes, and those particular stage finishes were at 100 yards. So having to shoot small, either targets for accuracy or a small group or whatever at 100 yards, it was a challenge. It was windy and everything, you know, going on with position and stability. But for me, not having to worry about my equipment, I knew the rifle could shoot, and the trigger just allowed me not to screw up my presentation or my aiming, and it just allowed me to break the shot and deliver the rounds and have some accurate stages. So the other stages where I didn't do so well, you know, further distance, wind, position, stability, whatever, but when it came down to just shooting, I felt really confident with the trigger. I really liked it. So I like it. I think you would like it too if you're looking for a quality two-stage trigger. At this point, it's kind of my favorite two-stage trigger on the market. Again, I do want to check out some other stuff coming out, but for right now, I really like it. MSRP, $250. Here's the downside. Here's one thing I will have to say about Geissele, and it's tough right now, is that a lot of their stuff is out of stock or hard to get. And if I had one bad thing to say, I would say it was that. If you want it right now, you might not be able to get it right now because it's out of stock. $250 is MSRP. Wait for a holiday. They have sales all the time through their dealers, through them direct. You can get it around 200 bucks. Okay, $200 is street price. I would have no problem if it was $250 every day, all day, twice on Sunday. I would pay $250. No problem running it. I think you're getting the performance out of it. Guys, that's gonna do it for this review. If you're looking for a super solid trigger that has been absolutely rock solid, reliable for me, I would have no problems recommending this Geissele Super 700 trigger. It has been reliable. It's been a pleasure to shoot. It's offered me a crisp break. I have nothing bad to say about it except for availability. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about the Geissele Super 700 trigger, go ahead and search online for Geissele Super 700. You can also check us online at gunsandtactics.com. We have articles, we have all sorts of other really cool info. You can check out our other videos, things like that. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe if you have liked the content. If you have any questions about this or anything else gun related, go ahead and shoot us an email. Email address shown below, the QA at gunsandtactics.com. We have a monthly QA episode where I answer your questions, give away a prize too. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great day. We work really hard to make content that we hope you as a shooter would enjoy. Subscribe to our channel, check out our featured videos and playlists, and if you have a question firearms related, go ahead and send an email to the address shown on the screen to be entered into our monthly QA series.